A prospective tenant's references can tell you a lot about their rental history. After all, checking their references is just as important as checking their income, their employment, and their credit. Think about it. Tenants that have a history of moving around frequently, especially without a good reason, might not be the best fit to fill your vacancy. We're in Houston right now, walking our new 56-unit crazy property here. It starts down there.
We got a lot of $1 billion man.
Within a tenant's rental history report, you might be able to see where they currently live, where they have lived, their landlord's information, and find out why they've been moving around, if frequently or not. You'll also be able to see what their previous living situation was like. And if you like what you see, you know they're going to treat your property with care and respect. If you don't, you already know what you're in store for if they become your tenant. This is also going to give you a sense of direction and help you find out if your tenant, potential tenant, has been evicted in the past or not. That's definitely something you're going to want to know when renting to someone new. Some questions you might want to ask include: why is the tenant leaving? How long have they lived at that current address? Whether they're willing to fill out a rental application or not. If not, then that's a red flag immediately and you're going to want to know why. Will they authorize you to do a background check, which is completely legal? It's not monitored by anyone else or any government guidelines or restrictions. You are going to want to do a background check on your potential tenants and find out the type of people they are and their history. There's nothing wrong with that. Whether they're willing to provide references from their previous landlord or former people that they've worked with or people that they're currently working with. And extremely important, if they have been evicted in the past or not. If and when the tenant consents to a rental history checkup from you or your team, at that point you're going to want to make the calls, follow through, check in on who they are. Keep in mind, some of the tenant's references might lie, and you're going to have to do your best to catch them in those lies. For example, if you call a former landlord, you can ask him what the rent was, and if you want to catch him in his tracks, a little hint here, a little life hack, you can tell him the wrong rental amount, see if he says yes or no. And if he lies to you, you're going to know right away because he's going to agree or disagree with the number that you give him. If you didn't get what I meant, if you ask a tenant, how much did you pay your last landlord, and they said $1,000 a month, and you call their former landlord, quote unquote, and you say, hey, I know that XYZ tenant was paying you $1,500 a month. Were they a good tenant? Did they keep up with the place? If the landlord says, oh yeah, they were the best of the best, they paid $1,500 like clockwork, you caught him in his tracks, one of the people are lying, and you don't want to be any part of that. You don't want to skip this part because skipping rental history reports can lead you to get a bad tenant in your place. Think about it. You don't want a bad tenant. The heartache and the cost is going to be much more than the few phone calls you had to make in order to find out more information about these people. Rental history on prospective tenants is also great because if you can actually get a hold of the former landlord, he can give you info or she can give you info about that prospective tenant. They can tell you if they paid on time, if they didn't, what their problem was, if they were messy or not. God knows that I've been called by many landlords in the past and I've told them the dead honest truth about that tenant and what I thought. Some have been fantastic, some haven't. I have no idea why the ones that haven't put my name down, but they did, and I speak the truth. So it is what it is, and I hope those landlords made the right decision when they called me and heard my feedback. Now, not everyone has rental history. If they're young or they just don't, you're going to want to figure out and pick up on those clues that you're going to get when speaking to them. For example, if it's a 21-year-old kid moving out of his parents' house, but his parents are guaranteeing the lease, then you can expect that kid not to have rental history because it's his first apartment. But if it's a 50-year-old man that's been renting his entire life, that should immediately raise a red flag, and you should think about why he's not giving you consent to find out and dig into his rental history. Be attentive to people's behavior and check their pay stubs, their income, their credit, all that good stuff. It'll help you curate a picture of who that tenant is, and that's crucial to making a good decision about whether to rent to someone or not. So, to answer your question, yes, it's important to check a tenant's rental history. A prospective tenant could be brutal and ruin your life, or they could be the best thing that you've ever been gifted on this earth. So make sure you check that as fast and as diligently as possible because it's an intense market right now and you want the best of the best people in your properties. While it might take some extra time and headache in order to get this info together, it's definitely worth it, and the short-term gain is also going to be way more long-term than you can imagine. Trust me, it's going to be a little bit of short-term pain, but the gain is definitely worth it. With that being said, thank you for tuning in. Share this with a friend. If your friend's got 1, 2, 3 rental properties or are on their way to get started, you want them to watch this video because I'm telling you, this can change someone's life that's getting into rental properties. Thank you. Drop a comment, give me a like, and follow me on Instagram where I share this stuff all day long. Until next time, peace.